In this video, we're going to take a look at another base creation tool called Contour Roll inside of Autodesk Inventor's sheet metal environment. Now, the Contour Roll is a unique tool that actually creates kind of a rolled flange. It's actually rather unique to the software because this is the only way to get certain deformations to actually show up in a flat pattern. So I'm going to start a new 2D sketch on the XY plane. And the kind of sketch that we're going to create is very similar to the contour flange type sketch where it's a single open profile, but we also have to deal with an idea of a center line or a centroid to actually be included with the profile as well. So I'm going to start my line tool and simply create a line coming up away from the origin here. This will be my centroid line. It really doesn't matter how long I make this as long as it's a centroid. So I'll just make it 1 inch. I also will toggle this to be a center line type. Now I'll start my line command again, and this time start creating my geometry. I'm going to zoom out a little bit further, create a small little angled segment here, then go straight up, then over, then up again. You'll right click and choose OK, and put a few dimensions on. This one I'll make about 2 inches. The angle between here will be 120. This will be a value of 1, and this will be 1.5. Now I need to dimension this away from the centroid as well. So I'm going to dimension this from here to here, the diametric value, and I'll make this 5. Really pushes that out further. Put another dimension on this one of an angle value of 1.5. We're going to change the value of 2 here to 3, that a little bit bigger. Right click and choose OK. We're going to take a look here at what we still have to constrain. We have some movement up and down. I'll simply do a horizontal alignment with a horizontal constraint from the origin to this lower point here. And now we're fully constrained. I'll right click and choose Finish 2D Sketch. And I have what I need to create a contour roll. Go ahead and start the command. It's already got the profile already pre-selected because it was the only line profile I had there. If for some reason that did not highlight for you, it's because your sheet metal default is set to be so small for your geometry that it's not going to work out at all. So you might need to adjust your sizing. You might need to adjust your thickness values. You might need to adjust the overall values of your sketch dimensions. But what I have here is valid. So let's take a look at our dialog box. We have our shape pre-selected. We have our axis pre-selected because it was a center line type. If you drew that as a normal line, you'd actually have to go back there and pick that. We can specify the direction we would like to go around that profile. So here we have one direction or the other, or asymmetrically around our profile geometry. We then have our rolled angle. Currently, this is going in one direction, which is the negative value for rotation. I could go the other way or asymmetrically. And then what rolled angle do we want? Well, here I'd like to have 270. You can really see what's going on with that. So we see a nice preview there. Next, we have to look at our unrolling and unfolding methods. So here we have a centroid cylinder, which has a neutral radius and an unrolled length. We can change this to a custom cylinder, or we can specify our neutral axis. We'd have to have one created there. Or we can do a developed length, actually type out our developed length that we know of. Or we can do a neutral radius as well. I like using the centroid cylinder here, just as a preview so we can see how well it works. But depending on your method of rolling, you might choose one of these other different unroll methods. We also have our unfold method to select, as well as the bend radius for the areas where we have distinct bends. This method of unfolding and unrolling this metal is a little bit different than the other methods of unfolding inside of Autodesk Inventor. So I'm going to choose OK to this and show you what I mean. So here's our finished product. And if I were to choose the flat pattern, you can see the unrolled metal here. That's something where it tries its best to understand the stretch and the sag and the rolling aspects of your decisions you made inside that dialog box. But to the untrained eye, for someone who's never worked with sheet metal, you might look at this and be like, what is going on here? It actually is valid, or as close as it can be to valid with the assumptions we make in the dialog box. So here I'll go back to our folded model to take a look at our contour roll one more time. If you need to modify it, Simply click on a face and choose Edit Feature or edit the sketch that created it and make your appropriate changes.